So again, animals store their extra glucose as glycogen. And this glycogen, there's a major reserve in the liver, and there's also glycogen stored in muscle tissues. So it is the energy storage carbohydrate in animals. Animals store most of their extra energy as fats, not sugars like plants do. But for the backup reserves that you need, you have glycogen. It's similar structure to amylopectin, except it is even more highly branched with the alpha-1,6 glycosidic linkages. So it's like amylopectin, but even more branched. Cellulose, now we have beta chains. So what separates cellulose from starch are the beta glycosidic bonds as opposed to the alpha bonds found in starch. Not many organisms have the enzymes necessary to chop up the beta bonds, and so not many organisms can consume wood for energy. However, termites have a protist in their gut, and that protist has a bacteria, and that bacteria can break this linkage down, and so to a termite, wood is just a big pile of starch, just like a potato is. So the difference in stereochemistry at the anomeric carbon allows for the stability of cellulose. Most organisms cannot break down those beta bonds. Cellulose is the most abundant organic substance found in nature, and it is the chief structural component of plants and wood. So here we have two representations of cellulose, and notice the beta bonds. And the dotted lines represent the hydrogen bonding that occurs in cellulose, making it an extremely strong fiber. And so wood is very strong. It's very useful, and it can help form gigantic plants like the redwoods out in California, which are hundreds of feet tall. Complex polysaccharides are found in animal tissues, including glycosamines and antigens. So here we have glycosaminoglycans, and they are part of the connective tissue that is found in joints such as the knee. These complex polysaccharides act as shock absorbers between the bones. And so we'll have proteoglycans, we'll have molecules like this, huge polysaccharides, which can also be associated with proteins that form the connective cartilage tissues that you find in your joints. Antigens are complex polysaccharides, and they act as a label to help the immune system differentiate animal cells from an invading bacteria. And so all of your cells have a sugar code, and you have a specific code that tells your body the cell is yours, just like you have an ID that says you are you. And so your immune system is always scanning your body, and if it finds a cell that doesn't have your sugar code, it has a different sugar code, it thinks it's an invading cell, and it will attack it. And that's where the problem comes with transplanted organs, because if you get a kidney or liver from someone else, that kidney or liver has a different sugar code, and so your body recognizes that it is not your own sugar code, and therefore it will attack it like it's an invader, which is why individuals need immunosuppressants when this happens, to make sure that their immune system won't attack the new organ. A really simple set of sugars is found on red blood cells. Red blood cells are unlike any of the other cells in your body because as they mature, they expel the DNA out of the cell. Everything actually gets kicked out. And a red blood cell just loads up on hemoglobin. Because it has no DNA, it has no ability to really do anything or maintain itself. And so a red blood cell will float around your body for about 120 days before it breaks down in the spleen because it couldn't maintain itself and repair as it slowly degraded. Because it has no DNA, it cannot make its own sugar code. And so the ABO blood system, your A blood or B blood or AB blood or O blood, and there's a Rh positive or negative, that's just some minimal biochemistry of enzymes that are outside of the red blood cell. They're actually in the blood plasma itself, and they'll attach extremely simple sugars to the outside of the red blood cell. And so your red blood cells are very different from all of your other cells. All of your other cells have a specific sugar code unique to you. That's not the same as anyone else in the world unless you have an identical twin. Because an identical twin started this world as one person, so they have identical sugar codes. And if you study blood more, you'll find out that there's actually way more than 8 blood types. There's actually over 300, but a lot of them are really rare, and that is what blood scientists study. And that is the end of this chapter.